Good afternoon, Lebanon area seniors. It's Rebecca over at the Lebanon Senior Center today. Going to try to film this craft demo a little differently than we normally do, just to see if it gives you a better angle. So today we are working on a multimedia project. You can see all these different supplies hanging out in front of me. I guess we wanted to encourage some painting. A lot of people don't feel they've got a great amount of painting skills, and that's okay. Sometimes you can be a little bit of an abstract artist, still have some fun with some paint, but then give yourself a little, let's say, leeway to do some artistic interpretation, use other people's materials, add them to your project, and maybe come away with something really interesting that you might like to use in decorating your own home or in giving as a gift. So today I am going to be inspired by a daisy for this project. And things that I am using today are some regular acrylic craft paints. I've got some foam brushes, I've got some artistic brushes, a small pair of scissors, might be using some fine cut work later. I have some Modge Podge. I have a stamp with a fun saying I like on it that I think goes well with it. I've got a stamp pad. I'm not sure if I'm going to use that because it might be dried out. We'll find out later. I have some miscellaneous scrapbook papers, kind of on some nature themes. I have a little bit of water. I have some paper plates that I'm going to be using as just something to mix paint on if I want to change colors. I've got some napkins nearby. I've got some 11 by 14 canvas that came in a 3-pack, so I pulled one out. And then I've got a dictionary, which I really, I'm not using it, not starting school year, having us memorize a word a day, I promise. No, it's just an older dictionary, and I used it for some paper scraps. I was wrong. I hurt the book. Hopefully, the friends of the library forgive me. I turned it in. Going to use parts of the pages in this craft. These are some of the cut up pieces I have left over after pulling my pieces out. Well, we're going to start with the background. I said I was going to do a flower, and that is what I plan to do. But I'm going to play with some different backgrounds first. So the fun part about this project, probably the most fun about this project for me, is that I don't plan to do a fine art painting. Some people get really intimidated by painting because they think they need to paint in terms of fine art. Fine art being, distinctive pictures, having to paint a very specific item, trying to make their work look exactly like the bowl of fruit, that kind of thing. And that can be really stressful. I know it is for me. I don't do realism very well, probably because it takes, in my mind, a lot of patience and sitting there working on something in layers over and over again. And I like to craft to relax. So if I'm trying to make something look like something else, I find I don't relax. I need more freedom. So, yeah, that is kind of how I feel about that, I guess. There we go. We'll just leave it at that. Like I did a lot of explaining on that. Really wishing I had a brown right now. I didn't realize the set did not have brown and black in it. That's okay. I might make something of my own in a little bit. I'm just popping open some colors. Really, well, I was going to say really quick. Say really quick, and then you have to get stuck paint with it. All right. So I got a couple of different colors out. I'm going to move them off to the side a little bit. I'm going to kind of play with the sky a little bit and watercolors. And I don't mean watercolor paints, I just mean the colors I see in different waterways that I like. To kind of create a kind of a model blue background. It's not going to be, again, it's going to be abstract, nothing serious. This is just the first layer. So I am just literally going to smoosh some paint onto this canvas. Maybe what I should first do is shake them all really well to make sure they want to give me paint. There we go. All right, I am just putting some paint around. I'm picking some kind of vibrant colors too because I want the our daisy petals. I'm doing a daisy are kind of in the white family here. Ones I actually got are kind of an off-white, so they are just going to, I think, stand out really well for me. And I've already got paint on my fingers. That's okay. I'm just mushing my paint. And I told you, this is where I just gonna play a little bit. No perfection needed. Like I've got a lot of green. I'm gonna add some blue back in. Just realized it's kind of matching the table. How do you like that? There we go. Try to do something different and you just end up playing around. And if you're thinking this looks like a kindergartner's work, you're not too far off. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Some of us, I think, did our best work when we were carefree and just felt like, we could just play around and that was okay. It was okay to play with color. It was okay to explore color. There wasn't really a right or wrong. The wrong was putting it in your neighbor's hair and not keeping it on your artwork. There we go. It's kind of a hodgepodge of colors. The person I'm giving it to does happen to like purple. So I'm going to hijack. We'll see if I just really decide I hate doing this. But that's, you know, what happens sometimes when we play. All right. As I said, I am just going to freeform this up a little bit. Always so when you add paint to something and you come back and take it right back off again. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you decide, I don't want to get that way. And sometimes we really like it when we do something fun. Realizing I'm not quite getting out to my edge, so I'm lifting my canvas up just a bit here. Pizza turn here. There we go. I'm definitely getting my fingers all pinky. All right. So I've swapped out canvases to work with one that's dry. So this one I do with green paint, and well, kind of just the teal paint, but I applied it thicker in some areas. I just used a big wide paintbrush to do these kind of swirly things. I think it looks kind of like, a snapshot of grass growing up or something like that, kind of at an angle, but I don't know, I kind of like it. So this is where that handy dandy dictionary comes in handy, and the Modge Podge is broken out. Let me go ahead and open my Modge Podge here. Okay, I'm gonna have it on this side. So what I did is I gotta slide them over here. Took those dictionary pieces and I found some pages and I tore out pages and made them look like leaf shapes. Now, being a word-loving person that I am, of course, I couldn't just use any dictionary pages. I used pages that had words related to flowers. So I actually tore out the page that says daisy and the page that says flower and water and bloom and things like that. And so I used those words as things that I tore to make the petal shapes. So then we're just going to be carefully applying our petal shapes. And because I'm being picky and I want certain words face up, I'm going to be kind of careful to make sure I get those words going the direction I want them to. Before I glue myself to the table. All right, and so I'm going to hopefully start this kind of the direction of the page I want to. Because this is mixed media, it can be as rough or as delicate as you want it to be. That's one of the fun things about mixed media art is it brings together different types of art. So some people do things that are very have clean lines, and other people, like me, just mess up a lot, and it's okay because it's my project and I can do that. My petal's starting to curl a little bit. All right. Now, to finish this off, I do plan on covering the whole thing in Modge Podge to seal it in. So I'm not overly stressed about getting Modge Podge on different parts of the paint. Like this leaf is kind of this petal is kind of wilting and torn, so I feel like he's dangling down a little bit. And I've got fat leaves and cool leaves and I did even pick out some different types of flowers. So this the petal says snapdragon. I just thought that was a little funny. I am spacing them out a little ways from each other, and I'm doing that with purpose. I do plan on putting a different center because I'm doing a daisy. Obviously, daisies usually have a different colored center than the flowers themselves. So, of course, I say that, and then I bunch that petal right up in there. You can see I am just working my way around. And, you know, if you don't want to do as much cleanup as I'm going to get to enjoy doing later, you can certainly put a protective layer on your work surface before beginning this process. Save yourself a little cleanup. I like this idea of having them a little bit more sporadic on one side and a little bit thicker on the other. Like maybe one petal has just started to fall off already. Somebody picked it. could even do that. If I were to squeeze in another petal, I think it's pretty quick. You can reposition somebody just a little bit there. Come back with some glue just to make sure that kind of like this one that had the very fine look to it because I thought it was a really pretty look, almost translucent. So I am just putting another little quick spongy sponge of Modge Podge over the top of these petals just to help make sure they're sticking down because some of them look like they wanted to fill up on the corners because I didn't make it all the way to the corner. There we go. All right, starting to look like a daisy shape just a little bit. I'm just putting Modge Podge everywhere. Okay, so our daisy needs a stem, and that's where these other papers come into play. I brought some options, and so I'm just going to kind of decide. I don't really like the super dark one, so I might go with this bright green. Just looking in this booklet to see if there's any other greens that capture my eye. I mean, that one's kind of fun, but I think there's already so much movement. I think I will stick with the plain, I shouldn't say plain, solid green, because everything else has a color to it. So I think having our stem be this way will be perfect. And so it has scissors. You could cut it perfectly if you want to. I'm actually going to really specifically just kind of use my finger as a guide. Quite awesome. So I like the idea of having a little character in my stem. And not having it be perfect. Of course, right now it's looking a bit like Jack and the Beanstalk. So I kind of have it a little wider than I want in some places. So I'm coming back and just reshaping my flower stem, just pulling off some of the extra paper in places, just taking small pulls as I go. And I can always, since we're doing decoupage, I can always fold in some of the paper underneath and just make sure it gets flat by using the back of my fingernail. To finish laying down any spots that I feel might have gotten a little more free-form than I want. Looks like maybe my stem was attacked by a caterpillar, or it could be the start of a rose one, and these are actual thorns, right? Okay. So my daisy is ready to go. I'm just going to put a bead, nice thick bead, because this is cardstock. So it's a little bit thicker than the book paper. Just get a pretty hefty bead down the center. And I start pushing it down with my finger. And I'm going to come back with some more of that Modge Podge again. And I will use it to actually push our stem down onto the canvas. Just like that. And you can certainly use, add a flower petal if you want or something. Since it's a daisy and they're not known for their flowers, I'm not going to do that. Then you can certainly add other elements. I almost skipped ahead and forgot to break out a piece of yellow paper for my, ooh, I like that one, for my center. So I'm going to use this polka dotted paper, which I feel is really nice here for the center. I'm just going to kind of judge how big I want that. Like I ended up just pulling a heart out. Kind of a bit wonky. This paper isn't tearing like I like. It's got a lot of white on the edge. So I think I am going to go ahead and just use some scissors to cut out my shape that I want. And I'm not going for a perfect circle. I'm going a bit for a bit of an oval. I'm giving a side view of the flower here. So I got it the way I like it. Adding a little more decoupage to the back of our, ooh, or a lot of decoupage to the back. At the center of our flower. And add that right in there. A little push down on the edges. Make sure it's nice and connected. Once again, come back. Like that. I have decided I was going to add just another little, just the tiniest of petals. This on hard. Use my fingernail to get up the edge. Oh, and then I changed my mind again, just like that. So I don't like that it overlaps. So yeah, just play with your project so you get it how you like it. Let's start to leave those petals be. A little extra coat, you can see they were starting to dry. And you eventually want them to dry. I just want to make sure they're coated really well. All right, and then again, just where you can have a little bit of more fun. Said we were going to look at adding something to these. This packet's fun. It's got a lot of nature things, so we could add ladybugs. We can add butterflies. Maybe not the snow. So this is where you have to spend some time fussy cutting a butterfly. Fussy cutting meaning you're going to cut around the outside edge of the butterfly. It can be a lot of work. It can be a lot of fun as well. And I am going to do that, and I'm going to pause and come back because I don't want to bore you with watching me cut out something. All right, everybody, we're back. As you can see, I did some more on our project. So I did fussy cut the butterfly out. The leaves weren't something I cut out. They were just some leaf items that were sitting with scrapbook materials that we had sitting around the center. Thought I had one more. I was going to show you what it looked like before I glued it on. And of course, it's probably blown onto the floor or something. But I did just glue those down as well. I did do a stamp of our little take time to enjoy the simple things in life. And I just put it on a piece of white paper and just rough tore it off of that piece of paper down to the size I liked. I then used some of the kind of turquoisey background color that we had sitting in the water here. Just dipped my finger in that a little bit and ran it around the edge so it would pop and connect to the other colors in the painting. Also found this other piece of scrapbook paper that I glued our message onto, just to kind of incorporate the colors from our board for the background, our stem green, the orange and yellow from the center of our flower and our butterfly, just to kind of, bring all those colors together, and just glued it all down. And then I took our Modge Podge, and that's where you see it right now. That's why it looks a little fuzzy. I just coated the whole thing in another layer of Modge Podge. All right, and so here is our finished product for today. Well, maybe quite finished. I did grab a Sharpie out of the office. Think about adding a decorative border with Sharpie, maybe some just little dashes. You can see I did add some little antenna onto our butterfly. Yeah, might add a few just little accents here or there with the Sharpie. And you want to do that after it's completely dry. So hopefully you feel inspired to make a little art today, no matter how you feel about your technical abilities to make some art. You can certainly have some fun just painting up a background, making it look textured or very colored, or just make it a solid color. And then instead of feeling like you've got to paint every little detail you desire, you can certainly use paper accents, a little Modge Podge, and making something kind of fun and whimsical. Be fun in a children's room, or if you know someone who likes a little whimsy in their life, it can make a great gift for someone that you care about. You guys have a great day. Go let your inspiration loose on your craft supplies, and we will see you later from the Lebanon Senior Center. Have a good afternoon.